Hello everybody, First Month is here today with another new knife, very small knife, very short knife. This is this Tops UTE number 2 knife. This is the short version, or maybe we say standard version, because there used to be XL version, which was significantly longer and simply bigger in all sizes you can imagine. Not in thickness, as I know, but much more simply, much more bigger knife. This is really small knife. Just for now, very quick size comparison. Tops T4 tracker. So you can see it's generally the same size, but if we will talk about this knife as a broad, if this is broad blade, this is kind of tiny knife. But you can see size comparison with some another I would say neck knives or some small, shorter, light knives right now. So we've got Tops UTE number 2 as a size comparison with other knives which could be called neck knives, or I believe they are in similar purpose. The longest one, as we can see here, is the Bark River Mini Aurora, but you put this one, you can see this is definitely, I believe, one of the lighter knife out of these. So even it is longer, so it's very light. It's much more lighter than the Tops UTE. So that's why the Mini Aurora is actually here. So what is important? So this is size comparison. We'll try to arrange this one now as a kind of blade. You see, I'll try to put about the edges or blades to line about plus minus something like this one. So let's have a look for the UTE. So as we can see, these Blackjack 155 and UTE2 are generally in the same, I believe, overall size plus the blade size also. Okay. Now, the thickness of these knives, that's very interesting, is, I'll try to put them like this one. Okay. So moment. So thickness here, unbelievable. The thinnest one is the Tracker T4, is 3.2 millimeters or 0.12 of an inch. The Mini Aurora is 3.3 millimeters thick or 0.13 of an inch. The Blackjack 155 is 3.4 millimeters thick or 0.14 of an inch. And the Tops UTE2 is 5 millimeters in thickness, so absolutely thick blade. You can see it here, or 0.19 of an inch. So this is a really thick knife. And when you take this knife, the Tops UTE2, into your hand and try to compare with some of these knives in the other hand, you find out that Tops UTE is number 2 is much more heavier. Just another size comparison. This is my 0620 zero tolerance Emerson standard size folder. I would say there's nothing special in size on this knife. It's not super long, not super short, standard size. So as we can see here, the Tops UTE is much more. It's kind of tiny, but if we want to compare it and see a really tiny comparison, so I take T1 tracker. Now we can see what's the difference on these knives. I mean in size. I'll try to find the thickness, as I said. As we can see here, that the UTE is really thick. What I got here on the tracker, some kind of rust. I don't know why it gets. I'll try to take it off. So that was the size comparison for the Tops UTE number 2. This knife isn't really new on the market, and why I bought the knife is just, is like a really utility knife with something you really need for whatever you need. I mean, it's really short, small, in all sizes. You can attach it on your normal day pants, I mean on belt of course, and use it simply as an EDC in town, also in a forest. I would say like a backup knife or or simply utility knife, maybe even for self-defense. It's really nice and grippy. Okay, some details. By the way, you can find, of course, I would say quite a lot of reviews on YouTube, because this is not a new knife, so there are, I would say, plenty of them, and they are really nice. So this is just another one out of these, my opinion for the knife. Of course, I give you some details now. So as I said, Tops UTE number 2. I got the paper here, paperwork, what I did. It is made of 1095, surprisingly, by Tops, of course. What is important, the knife is 0.19 of an inch thick, or 5 millimeters thick. So as you can see, this is really chunk of steel for such a small knife, really. We got a weight, overall weight is 113 grams or 40 ounces, plus 36 grams sheath, by the way. Sheath, nice, really secure. You can attach it for a neck knife, or do it like a neck knife, but I'll come to that a little bit later. And we got by the way, the 36 grams is 1.3 ounces or 150 grams together, whole package, or 5.3 ounces. So it is, say it is not, of course, for the size heavy knife, but in the other hand, when you grab something such small, it's quite heavy, really. Compared, for example, to T4, which is, I mean, there's broad, there's lots of material. This is still, I feel this one's still too light, but you got this information in that show video, the comparison with these small knives. Okay, carry on. T4, by the way, was 91 grams, and together 4.8. So it's pretty light. So 91, 13. So we got 22 grams, almost 1 ounce lighter, the T4 is, than the UTE2. Really. That's really interesting, because as I said, when you put them together like this one, you can see where the weight is. Okay. The Blackjack 155 was 88 grams, was really, or 3.1 ounces, very light. And the Mini Aurora 96 grams or 3.3 ounces. So even the Mini Aurora, which is the longest out of those short knives, is still much more lighter than this one. CPM 3, but there is the grinding is really starts from the spine, so that's really different. Here you can see on the knife we got a full thickness here, quite nice of piece of steel up to the grinding, to the secondary bevel. Okay. Back to just to the UTE number 2, 56 to 58 HRC, which is kind of standard for Tops. 1095, as I said, black traction coating, standard for the Tops. Black linen micarta, standard, of course, very grippy, nice in hand, really. Even as I said, I got some small hands, not really small, but small, maximum up some mid-range size. You can see I still miss some piece of handle, but with this really designated choil, it is nice in your hand. It's really a carving knife. If I put this one, if that will be a bit, wider, broad here, and a bit longer, with the same size of blade, that it looks like that traditional some carving knives or bushcraft knives. Of course, the thickness and the secondary bevel really high. Also, come to back a little bit later to this. Okay, we got overall length is 6.5 inches, 6.5. Yeah, 6.5. I tell you, okay, in centimeters, which is 16.5 centimeters, 16.5. So 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters. Okay, I'll carry on. Blade overall. So from the handle, as I normally measured, so from real handle, so from this point to the very tip, we got 3 inches. And the edge, real edge, is 2.75 of an inch, which is generally 7.5 centimeters or 7 centimeters real edge. It's, as I said, it's a really short blade. It is maybe even slightly even less than 7 centimeters. It is 6.8 actually, because there is the sharpening choil, or how we call it, this one. So 6.8 centimeters real edge. We got the handle 3.5 inches or 9 centimeters exactly. No. Yes, 9 centimeters or maybe 8.9. So generally 9 centimeters. So in my experience, as I said, 9.5 is for me kind of border to get a full grip on a tool or a knife, for example. Now, so it will be really just like that, and I'll get full grip. 10 centimeters for me start to be kind of comfortable, and I like usually 10.5 or even more. I got here a comparison with the bootlegger. Tops bootlegger, so you can see bootlegger is 5 inches blade, and I believe there is kind of 12 centimeters, 11. So there is 11.5, which is 4.5, 4.6 of an inch overall length of the handle. That's important. So, and we can see it here. I'd say this one, how much longer on this, and they call it as also as a backup knife more. So this is kind of backup. Okay, we got all measurements, weight, size, and these things. What is important for this one? Why I bought this knife, of course, as I said, as a general company in a town, in a forest, you can attach it wherever you want. It's really small. Even it's, as I said, it's a little bit heavier than you expected for such a small knife, but it is nice and grippy thanks to the thickness. Also, when you grip it, it's really nice in your hand. You don't lose the grip. As the T4 tracker, if there wasn't be the hook, I start to lose the grip because I really squeeze it, and you know, this is not exactly the thick handle as I want, but I understand the meaning, so it's all right for that. But what I say, if this one is that, this is, yeah, it's thanks to the choice, as I said. I try to pull it. No, it's fixed here. Now, this one is kind of weird because, to be honest, I like the hooks on that. That's why I like trackers, because if that will be here, it will be even more secure in the hand, but maybe not so versatile because everything has its pluses and minuses, of course. But as I said, especially with the jimping here, which is standard as again for that tops knife, when you got it in your hand, it stops your thumb to slide to the blade, but it doesn't dig into your thumb. So this is fine. I like the point. I mean the tip of the knife. Of course, as I said, that's why I bought this. Stick them together. Yeah, now you can see the difference. For that, as I said, you need to drill something, you need to go deep, you need to prepare a fish. Excellent. As a company again for my trackers, generally all of them, even there will be interesting combo of these two knives, because as you can see, they are generally same size, close weight, not that close compared to the sizes, as I said, because these are very similar in size but not in the weight, but generally, but very different purpose, very different shaped blade. Each of them can make, I would say these two should go together, because we got the sharp tip, we got the belly here, we got the teeth like the saw. We don't have it here actually, but we got a part of straight edge. We got a hook here, we got a curved blade, as I said. Okay, you can use it for very light chopping. Not this is not, definitely not made for it. Even this is very light, so I would say the same, but you get the point. So this is a really nice combo, to be honest. And the point of this, why I said about the secondary bevel, especially as on the top knife side, generally the very high grinding, the very high secondary bevel. So this is still, I used the knife, it doesn't look like, but I really used the knife. This is still original edge. I didn't touch it because I want to do this one. So as I said, okay, but when you get some piece of wood like this one, for example, now we got the problem, which is always with this one. Yes, so it sinks into wood nicely, the initial sharpness, and that's the, I would say, problem of most tops knives, because they got thick spine, even very sharp edge, as you can see, it's sliced paper. But when you use it for the wood carving like this one, it really stops there. Now you can see pretty nice on this one. You see the slice in, and then it went here, so it generally stops go through. Why? Of course, because the secondary bevel. When you go in for the few millimeters, and then it turns that. Of course, you can use the force. You can use force and do it in this way, but you can, or you will break the piece of wood. This is as a general topic, you know. This is not about you know, I say it is not about complaining. It is just as I mentioned before in many times on that tops knives, especially for the tracker T1. That's why I revealed that. This is, I believe, this is still the original grinding, but not original edge. I'm not sure if I did change, not I did something with it, but I can't remember what on the blade. But what is important is if I do it here, yeah, even everybody understand this is very soft wood. And as I said, if I don't want to use force to go through, I get this result. Down and to the side. On the other hand, I really reduced on my bootlegger number 2, this one, moment. When I rebuilt it, this part, just this part of the original edge to the kind of convex, so the feeling is, even for the short movement, is different. You can see the path. Even I broke the end, you can see the path is still it goes down simply. So when I do this one, no, it kicks me to the side. So when I use the original top's edge, I slice that way and it turns me to the side. When I use the more convex blade, I say, or edge, or simply some modified, I go generally through. That's the difference what I said always when I spoke about top's edge. So even you got the feeling of oh, slice paper, of course, but when you start to use this one, the standard like carving, this is not the thing. Of course, sometimes where the piece of wood is kind of different, say okay, it could be all right, but still that's, you can't compare it. Oh, sorry, you can't compare it. Even if this is really sharp, especially for the paper, but the feeling, there is not that resistance of material, and here you feel it. The paper is too soft, so it goes out. But when you go the wood, even that soft wood, as I said, when you went through the material, then the high grinding, the high secondary bevel start to works against you. Of course, you go to force, so you go through and say, okay, everything's fine. Yes, of course, but if you do some slightly carving, or if you do food prep, especially food prep, so for food prep, and if you work with some soft material, the high secondary bevel simply press the material, then allows you to go in. So it is like you go to softball and you do soft touch, and you slice it through, and the material is not really pressed down, it's simply separated. On the original top's grinding, it is you press it down and then you separate it. That's I would say that's the best explaining what the edge does. So what I will do on this top's UTE number 2, of course I will do the test, of course. And that's important, I will modify the edge for me, because it is, as I said, it's sharp, but when you really use it, you feel, okay, I put it in this way. If I want to have it only for some really utility task, I mean, open a package, slice sometimes piece of rope or these things, so I won't care. But if I want to use the knife extensively, especially on the side, let's say as a backup knife or side of one of the big knives or heavy, and use it for carving, which you can really do the carving even with such thick blade, I will do the edge profiling again, because then after then you can use it that nice, because when you go the convex there, it will generally, it works similar like let's say bark riven knives, when you go the convex, even many times with really thick blade, and you see how it can work. So if you do this one on let's say particularly on this knife, then you can use it for food prep and everything this. If you want to use it just for just a general carving, make few kindlings, as I said, cut a couple of ropes, paracord, you need to take it off these things, you don't need to do it, of course. But if you want to use the knife extensively, more, as I said, more as a backup knife or side knife for the others, the big knife, I believe to reprofile the original edge, even it's very sharp for the touch, is better choice. That's what I definitely will do on that. Something else is the sheath. As I said, standard Kydex sheath, as we know, it's great. Everything's nice. As I said, the click. But all the point, what I found immediately when I see it, and I said, oh God, such a huge clip. This is the same clip as I got on Top's Tracker. That's different knife. So when I got T4, and they use this this kind of clip, which makes the profile much more thin, so you can attach it on your belt and it seals to or sinks more into your body. This is different story, so you can see the thickness. Okay, it's generally different, but just compare how much on the side goes this one than this one. Well, I understand, because there is the white part, but even that I will remove that, and I will put there some kind of clip like this one is, and stick it really, or I will rest it on that here, here exactly on that, so there will be no gap, there will be no this gap, and it sits on that, I will say few millimeters, no more, or not too much, but still it is better when you got such a small knife. You simply won't have it really low profile. Yeah, this is the rotation clip, so you can clip it how you want, but this is really, you know, it goes out of your body. Really, I attach it and say, oh, I don't want to use that. When I use in a city, that's important. So in town carry, if I use this one, I can attach it on my belt, normally on pants, and you won't see that because it really sinks into my body. But this one, boom, this is really, sorry, I put it this way. You see that this is how far is that from your body? How far? That's really, you really can't compare it. Sorry guys, so 22 minutes. That's just a bit comparison now, 22 minutes, of course, but plus that size comparing. Generally, the UTE number 2, when I get it, really, I said, maybe I want to have it a little bit longer, not that short. I say, okay, yeah, it has the point, because it's really short blade, so you can really hide it somewhere, especially when you change this one. Otherwise, the sheath by itself is excellent, as normal tops does. It's excellent, I like it. But I like to have it a little bit longer. Unfortunately, they stop. I don't know why they stopped to make these XL versions, because they were in this, how to say it, spear point, would say, okay, but they were spear point with the switch here, so there was like unsharpened switch, plus they made a tanto version of that, and it was, as I said, a little bit longer. Somewhere you can still find it. It is about double priced than this one, a bit more than, but it is rare now. It's really hard to find, and the knife looks really big. I mean, huge in size compared to this one. Even it is XL version, so I expected XL version will be something like this one, for example. But no, that one is, you know, it looks more massive to all sizes. But still, as I expected this one a little bit bigger before I get it, really. That one, when I see it, looks a little bit bigger than I expected. But maybe when I get it into my hand, it will be not like that. So, you know, sometimes when you see the videos, as the size isn't exactly what you think how it is. So that's why I said, oh, okay, this is a little guy. By the way, today's price on Amazon, what is it day today? 13th of October 2020. And the price was 80 US dollars. 80 US dollars. I get this one for 90 US dollars in my country, in Europe. So that's a pretty good price, because if you count shipping and VAT and these things, it's not definitely a bad price. This one, by the way, costs there on Amazon today 106 US dollars. So it is about, this is about $26 cheaper. Or this one more expensive, but if we can get the same material, but you got more work on this one, I would say, yeah, the price is comparable, you know. So okay. If somebody says this is too much money, $90 for such a small blade, Yes, it is, but you know that the price is starting somewhere. So even if you got a really small knife, it could be really expensive compared to the size and these things. And then you go higher, and you can get, for example, the cold steel Gurkha cookery press for how to say that? Maybe triple price than this one, and of course, it's much more bigger than like a triple size and these things. So it's hard to say. Not cheap, not that expensive definitely, and I believe it is good knife, but we will do the test. Thank you very much, have a nice time, and see you later. Bye.